Sig Sauer has been vindicated by the Air Force. If you've ever had to defend Sig Sauer after being very critical of their company and their most popular pistol, then go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Welcome back to the Trench Grenade channel. Today we're going to be discussing the facts surrounding the Sig Sauer P320 and, more importantly, the M17 and M18 service pistol. I'm going to leave out the drama from this video because I want to give you an entire look at the facts surrounding this pistol after this recent report from the United States Air Force and the tragic loss of 2 airmen has been released. Now keep in mind, this video is going to be 99.9% facts, and at the very end of the video I will let you know where I personally stand on the issue of the M17 M18. Now, keep in mind, this channel does not represent the War Department or the United States Army in any way. I'm simply representing myself as an individual content creator. If you want to support my channel, all that I ask you to do is hit the like button, leave your combat llama emojis down below, and let me know, take a second to think about this, and let me know where you actually stand on the issue of the Sig Sauer P320. Here are the facts. There are 4 million Sig Sauer P320 pistols that are currently in circulation worldwide, okay? 2 million of those pistols are in the hands of everyday American civilians using it for home protection, concealed carry, whatever. 421,000 of these pistols are in the hands of the War Department that are being used day in, day out, and we're going to go over exactly how many rounds have been fired through these pistols on the low end, but 2 million in the hands of United States civilians, 421,000 in the hands of the War Department, and if you factor in the over 1,000 agencies here in the United States that are using them, that is a lot of pistols that are currently walking around every day, okay? Now, I want to talk about how many rounds have been fired as well through these pistols to give you an overall scope, and then we'll get into the story out of the Air Force, the very tragic story. If you factor in all the pistols I just listed, the 4 million, that's a low number, being reported, the Department of Defense, or War, whatever you want to call it, has those 421,000 pistols. If we take every single pistol and take a 50 round count that's below the average of the annual qualification or annual training, or even the civilian sector or law enforcement sector, we're going to take 50 rounds per year per pistol of the 8 years that it has ever existed, since 2017 until current day, okay? So if you take the Department of Defense, 421,000 pistols times 50 rounds per year for the 8 years that it has existed, you get 168,400,000 rounds for just the Department of Defense alone. If you move over to the United States law enforcement sector, you have 50,000 pistols. That totals 20 million rounds over the course of 8 years. If you move over to the civilian sector, you have roughly 2,029,000 pistols. That equates to 811 million rounds, okay? So if you add all that up, keeping in mind this is the extreme low end of the spectrum here as far as how many rounds are actually being fired through these 4 million pistols, you're looking at over 1 billion rounds, okay? Over 1 billion rounds have ever been fired through the Sig Sauer M17, M18, P320 family of pistols, okay? So over 1 billion rounds fired. Now, when we move over to the case of the Air Force, where we have the unfortunate death of an airman, and then we have another unfortunate death that hasn't been officially reported as to what happened. You can all speculate on what happened. Long story short, the airman was shot in the chest, airman number 1, okay? Airman number 2 gave a false statement asking individuals on the scene to falsify their statement to say that they slammed the gun down and it went off in the holster. That was not the case. The pistol was fired and the airman was struck by the pistol. And then the airman number 2, who gave the false statement, was put into custody and was later found dead, okay? You can do your own independent research. I don't want to misrepresent either airman. Just understand that one was killed on duty, okay, while he was on the desk by a Sig Sauer M18 pistol. The other, you guys can go look up your own independent research. I'm not going to misrepresent his situation in any way here, but he has tragically also lost his life recently. But there has been no definitive conclusion in any way that a Sig Sauer M18 pistol killed airman number 1 out of the own negligence of that pistol. And furthermore, a false statement was made saying that it was slammed down when he placed his belt down. That is not what happened, and the report coming out of the Air Force is now that, yes, in fact, the trigger had to have been pulled, and it was not an uncommanded discharge as was initially reported by, I believe, the Air Force Times, but you'll have to look into who exactly quoted that. So why am I saying all this? I am guilty myself of being very, very critical on the P320, okay? Both the M17 service pistol and the P320 civilian model, both of which I have over 40 to 50,000 rounds shooting competitively at work, on duty, and competitively for the Army in multiple different matches in which I've won many. Marksmanship master trainer, certified, excellence in competition bronze badge holder, and I've shot a lot of USPSA matches, of which I don't know if I've won any matches with, but I have a ton of experience. Oh, and I-Corps championship 2 years in a row shooting the SIG Sauer P320 pistol. So all that to say, I have a ton of experience on this gun, and I have never personally seen, in all that time on the firing line, thousands and thousands of pistols to my left and right, I have never seen any uncommanded discharge. And to my knowledge, there has never been a proven case where the pistol has actually been caught going off uncommanded in the holster. I know there are reports out of the FBI. I know there are allegations out of Achilles Heel Tactical. The Achilles Heel Tactical situation, the video does not prove anything. Now, this is not me saying that the video does not exist, nor is it me saying that SIG Sauer is completely innocent of any wrongdoing of any other cases that I may not be made aware of. But what I am saying is, out of the 4 million pistols, out of the 40 to 50,000 rounds that I've seen or personally fired, out of the probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of rounds that have been fired to my left and right, I have never had an issue with any sort of safety consideration out of a SIG pistol. And what I have to say is, if we are going to continue this witch hunt, which is what it has turned into on the SIG P320, we need cold hard facts. A lot of people were relying on this Air Force case to say, okay, the Air Force gun, the M18 and the Air Force case, it went off and everyone is blaming that. So now we have the identified issue. It's been identified in the Air Force, and they pulled all pistols to be examined, and 141 of those pistols that were pulled from Air Force service did have internal safety issues. However, none of them prove, to my knowledge, that this uncommanded discharge epidemic has been validated. So what I'm saying is, yes, there are ranges, there are agencies that are moving away from it. There are also agencies moving into it. The Texas Department of Safety is moving into the SIG pistol, whereas other agencies like Chicago Police Department are moving away from it. Agencies like the FBI or agencies like ICE are moving away from the pistol, while other agencies are leaning into it. I know the War Department has announced that they're going to be releasing upgrades to the pistol, like grip panel upgrades, where you can have different grip design. That way it's better for the shooter and not as slick like it is in this area right here. Different designs are coming out for the pistol. So what I would say is this, and I'm trying to be as transparent and open on both sides of the camp as possible. From my perspective, it has been a massive witch hunt against the SIG Sauer P320. I have been a part of that witch hunt, and I'm not sponsored by SIG. I'm not sponsored by anybody. Whether that's fortunate or unfortunate, this channel basically gets little to no monetization, as I've recently complained about with limited monetization on the channel. But with that, I can be open and honest. And from my position, from my foxhole, keep in mind, I don't represent anybody else. From what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing the smoking gun that we thought the Air Force case would be, okay? So what I would like my audience to do is think critically, make their own decision, right? Make their own decision on, is the pistol bad? Is the pistol good? I don't care what you choose. I literally don't. I'm upset with Glock right now. I think Glock is a bunch of anti-Second Amendment traitors. That the fact that there's still fanboys going to Glock's aid is hilarious to me in 2025, when they have sided in Oklahoma with anti-Second Amendment legislation. They've canceled all of their double stack combat and duty rated handguns, and they've sold you this lie about a B generation Glock. I think Glock is trash as well. That's why I'm moving to the M&P and doing the M&P burn downs, right? For you, because I think the M&P guys, the Smith & Wesson M&P crowd, the 2.0 guys, you guys, I'm going to do a separate video on this, but you guys are the healthiest community inside of the gun community. You guys are the happiest, most healthy dudes to be around right now, and it's been awesome and refreshing to do a test on the M&P. But all of this to say, I think SIG has been vindicated a little bit, at least a little bit. You have to give them that. And I think this Air Force report is really going to bring some things to light. I want my audience, right, as the pre-workout is kicking in, I'm about to go here. I guess this is me being like, hey, make your own decision. Focus on it. Okay. You, the viewer, need to make your own decision. Okay. Whether you think SIG is corrupt, whether you think it's a good pistol, a bad pistol. I'm just a dude that's fired these things 40 to 50,000 rounds, most of which are on camera or have been proven through my marksmanship master trainer course certification, as I'm a marksmanship master trainer, or my excellence in competition badge, or here testing the burn downs on the channel. With all that, I've never had an issue, but I guarantee you there's going to be hundreds of dudes in the comments that hate me for this. I don't care, okay? This is just my observations and what I'm seeing from the unfortunate case in the Air Force of the false reporting and the false statements that were made and the unfortunate death of 2 airmen, neither of which were killed by an uncommanded discharge from what we know now. With all that in consideration, I think Sig Sauer has been vindicated, at least a small amount, okay? I look forward to reading the most likely just insanely hateful comments down below. If you are actually thinking about this objectively, I look forward to having a discussion. Maybe you can convince me one way or another. But from my foxhole, I'm not seeing a major issue at this time to have ranges or have people outright canceling the pistol or even just going after it or going after SIG. I'm just not seeing it, guys, okay? And this thing has the best performance on the channel. Well, I should know the M&P is up and coming, but this thing, that's why it has the blue tiger stripes for the memes, because this thing does have the best performance in the torture testing here on the channel so far. You can see the battle scars on the pistol, okay? So I'll show you some up here. So with all that out of the way, I've talked a lot. I really do. I hope guys approach this objectively and not just through the course of rage bait. I hope people actually use a little bit of deductive reasoning and think about it, not just panic. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But at the time of this video, SIG, I guess I'm sorry, not really, but you know, things weren't looking too great, but the pistol seems, I'm just showing you guys this damage up here, which is insane. The pistol seems to have been vindicated, there you go, to the time of filming this video, okay? But let me know what you guys think. I've talked a lot. We'll get you guys out of here. And until next time, this is going to be Trench Grenade, your average, I guess I'm defending the P320 right now. Weird. A video enjoyer that your mom says that we have at home, signing out. Cheers. Time to go hit chest.